Welcome to the science of the queue, the final and most agonizing hurdle of the modern retail experience. We have all stood there, clutching our basket, scanning the horizon for the fastest way out. You are usually faced with a binary choice. Do you get behind the one person whose cart is overflowing like a doomsday prepper, or do you join the line with 5 people who are only holding a few items each? Your intuition almost certainly screams, pick the short line with the 5 people. You see fewer items in total and you assume that means speed. But your intuition is wrong. According to queuing theory and mathematical modeling, you are making a fundamental error that is costing you minutes of your life. To understand why, we have to look at the invisible math of the checkout process. A transaction isn't one continuous fluid motion, it is composed of two distinct types of time costs, the fixed overhead and the variable item cost. The variable item cost is intuitive. It's the time it takes to scan a can of beans. For a professional cashier, this is incredibly fast, about 3 seconds per item. But the fixed overhead is the killer. This is the transaction tax you pay for every single human being in front of you. It includes saying hello, waiting for them to find their wallet, the chip reader delay, the receipt printing, and the polite goodbye. Research estimates this fixed cost is roughly 41 seconds per person. So let's run the math on your choice. Scenario A is the behemoth, one person with 100 items. You pay the fixed tax once, 41 seconds, then you pay the variable cost for 100 items. That's 300 seconds. The total wait is about 341 seconds, or roughly 5.7 minutes. Scenario B is the chatterbox chain, 5 people with each only 20 items. The total number of items is exactly the same, 100 items. But here, you have to pay that 41-second fixed tax 5 separate times. That is over 3 minutes of just saying hello and goodbye. The total time here balloons to 505 seconds, or 8.4 minutes. By choosing the line with more people, you have voluntarily increased your wait time by nearly 50%. The math is clear. The number of people in line is the single most important variable, far outweighing the number of items in their carts. In fact, every extra person in front of you adds the equivalent time cost of roughly 14 extra items. But speed isn't the only factor. There is also risk. In mathematics, we call this variance. When you stand behind one person, you are engaging in a single roll of the dice. If that person's card is declined, you are in trouble. But when you stand behind 5 people, you are rolling the dice 5 times. You are exposing yourself to 5 times the probability of a price check, a chip reader malfunction, or a coupon dispute. If there's a 5% chance of a delay-causing event, the single shopper presents a 5% risk. The line of 5 people presents a 22.6% cumulative risk that someone will hold up the line. The long line is a volatility trap. So if the math is so obvious, why do we still feel better joining the longer line? This is where psychology overrides logic. Harvard professor David Maister formulated the psychology of waiting, noting that unoccupied time feels longer than occupied time. When you are behind the behemoth with the full cart, you are standing still, you are passive, it feels like agony. But in the long line, you are constantly shuffling forward. That physical movement gives your brain a false sense of progress, known as the progress bar effect. You feel like you're winning even though you're losing. We also suffer from acute line jealousy. When we stand in a long line, we have more people next to us to compare ourselves to. If the line next to us moves, our anxiety spikes. The single-person line isolates us from this social comparison, actually lowering our stress levels once we suppress our initial fear of the full cart. However, there is one massive exception to this rule: self-checkout. At a robot kiosk, the rules of the game flip entirely. The fixed overhead drops because there's no social interaction, but the variable item cost skyrockets. You are not a professional cashier. While a pro scans at 3 seconds per item, the average shopper takes 9 to 12 seconds per item because we're clumsy and the machines are sensitive to weight errors. In the self-checkout lane, a full cart is a disaster. There, you should always choose the line with fewer items, regardless of the number of people. So, here's your algorithm for the next time you walk into a grocery store. First, scan the human-operated lanes. Assign a score to each line. Give every person in line a score of 15 and every item on the belt a score of 1. Choose the line with the lowest total score. And if the scores look even, pick the line on the left. Most people are right-handed and unconsciously drift toward the right-hand lanes, leaving the left side statistically emptier. Trust the math, not your intuition. The next time you see that person with the overflowing cart, don't roll your eyes. Get behind them. You'll be home 3 minutes earlier.